New year, new me, or more of the same old thing? Happy 2018, everyone. Welcome to episode 21 of Horrible Writing.
That will never work. You can't push that. Seriously? Don't. Oh my God, that's everything. That's bad. You probably should find other hobbies. You ever learn how to spell? Be happy. You don't. Don't bother me. I've seen better things. Do you really want to learn? And my third grade. Get up.
Welcome to Horrible Writing, the rawest, most candid, in-your-face writing show on the interwebs because none of us have time to suck. Let's do this. Hey everyone, Paul Sading, your host for Horrible Writing, episode 21, the first episode of the year 2018. May this year be the ultimate in course corrections in life. That's my New Year's resolution for the year ahead. I want to literally hit the reset button on life. If someone knows where that's located, please let me know. I'd love to find out. It's the winter here in Washington State, which means one thing, rain. Yes, unless you're in the mountains, it's raining. Now, I guess there's another part of Washington State, high desert kind of stuff. We don't believe it actually exists, kind of like Bigfoot, right? It's just part of the lore of Washington State. Washington State is green, tree-covered, and rainy, especially this time of year. I say that in jest. I don't mean it fully for those of you who do live in Washington State, or to my very special listener over in the UK, who is like totally living the dream I want to, going to school in Europe, but she is also from this part of the world, and misses it and kind of vicariously lives through me. Boy, do you not feel sorry for her? I do. So this episode, I decided to kick off the new year again in the spirit of this show. If you're a first-time listener, the episodes are relatively short. Go listen to everything and come back. But the spirit of this show is, self-professed know-nothing to published writer. So as of this recording, that hasn't happened yet, nor did I expect it to. But it's well on its way. And I wanted to kick off this year because I just feel it coming. So I wanted to document that, if you know what that means. Not that I'm expecting, to earn six figures in 2018. I'll be lucky to earn 6 cents in 2018. But, from my writing, I hope to God I earn more than that from the soul-sucking things I do all day long. But I really do. I feel like it's coming. Everything feels like it's catching momentum. Whether it's the audio dramas or the books, stuff feels like it's rolling forward and it's starting to on its own. And that's a good feeling that I wanted to embrace. So I wanted to do this episode and kick off the new year with a real quick episode on that. Feeling things moving forward. And if you're not, are you looking for them? For the longest time, anyone who knows me in the real world knows that I can be a little bit cynical, a little bit pessimistic. I say I'm a realist. They tell me to go suck a raw egg. I can be. I know that about me. I know I don't try to be. It's just, things happen in life, and owning my part of that, I made some decisions in life that took me down paths I didn't want to belong on, and nor should I have belonged on. And I spent many moons, far too much of my life, surrounded by people who weren't healthy for me, and not surrounded by the writer community where I should have kept myself grounded since I was that 8-year-old in second grade winning that writing contest about a story about, vampires and werewolves, long before there were sparkling vampires. And I didn't. And from that day forward, since I started getting serious about writing again, this has been a long journey of course correction, setting myself back on the path that I wanted to be on. The last few years, I've been doing that. I've been writing seriously, again, consistently since 2015. Doesn't sound like a long time, I know. But I've written throughout my entire life. You know, I told another writer just the other day about my 300,000 word epic fantasy that's sitting on a hard drive that I wrote back in 2007 in 9 months, deployed to Iraq, came home for a couple months, deployed to Korea for a year, and after I came home from that, the book was gone. All the momentum was gone, right? The story was gone. So, you know, and then I started writing basically music. So story writing goes back my whole life. I got real serious about it in my early 20s, writing a lot of fantasy. Then kids came along and it took me away from writing almost completely. And because I was going to school at night, you know, working full time, carrying sometimes up to 21 hours of semester work at university, you know, life happened and I got away from writing. And then it wasn't until my 30s that I started playing around, in my mid-30s when I really started playing around a lot more seriously with it. And this spell has been going on since early 2015, so it's only been 3 years of truly serious pursuit of my passion, which was to write. In that time, I have those 4 audio dramas: Subject Found, Who Killed Julie, Diary of a Madman, Atheist Apocalypse. I have a 5th one in the works, a 6th one in the works, a 7th one actually, now that I got to stop thinking about these. A lot of them may not see the light of day, not as audio dramas, but they may see it as books. You know, I have a book back from the editor, so I'm working heavily on that. I have one in the editing process myself. I have another one sitting on the shelf in the queue, and I'm writing the book for the 2nd season of Subject Found, so I can get that to the editor and keep this chain going. So the podcasts are doing incredibly well, all things considered. I don't have friends in the industry. I don't pay other podcasts to give me promotional attention, and I just do this with sweat equity. Essentially just working my ass off, doing it the way I want to do it. Not that there's anything wrong with people taking shortcuts. Hey, if I had shortcuts available to me, I'd maybe take them too. But, you know, it is what it is, and it's something I can be proud of. And it was about halfway through 2017 when I really started getting the first hints of it. Now, at that point, I could have paid attention. I could have ignored the momentum. I could have ignored the positive feedback. I could have. But again, I have spent the better part of my entire adult life being a cynic, being a pessimist, and I'm trying to change that. And this is one way I'm really, really putting a lot of effort into, because it pays immediate dividends and benefits for me, because it keeps me satisfied and happy creating. So it's very important for me to not be so cynical, to not be so, not that I actively searched for the negative, I just found it easier, right? It's a state of mind. When you think like that for a number of years, it's real easy to identify it in the future. Henceforth, segue, why I'm embracing this so fully, and why I wanted to lay down a marker for myself in 2018, first episode of 2018, to use this year and the momentum I've been feeling to keep everything moving forward. Everything is feeling good. Even now when I get negative comments about a podcast, those things water off the back. I mean, I forget about them almost as soon as I read them. And trust me, that isn't how things used to be. Now I don't bother with it. I've taken a lot of lessons from writers I've talked to, looking at their reviews, focusing on 5 and 4 stars, ignoring everyone else, maybe some 3 stars, but ignoring the 2s and the 1s completely. Don't even give them the time of day. What you have isn't for them kind of stuff. And then I've just noticed engagement increased. I've noticed downloads of, Subject Found. We released a teaser at the end of December, and the day it came out, it was the most downloaded episode I'd ever released for that show, and that show's got great downloads, and teasers never do well compared to full episodes. So it's noticing those things. It's noticing networking opportunities. It's noticing the emails that I get, typically, obviously, from audio dramatists. I'm still trying to get these books published. So I won't have a sphere of influence with writers and in writing circles. But I have been around audio drama, for 3 years now. And I have enough out there, enough of a catalog, if you will, out there to, at least in small circles, people know who I am. So I'm starting to get more and more messages of gratitude. That's something to pay attention to, especially if you're like me and you seem sensitive to the negative things or when things go wrong, and it's hard as hell for you to pay attention when something right is happening. And I'm turning that around, and I'm noticing it more, and I notice it more and more. And that all feeds back into the momentum that I'm feeling. And it's so much easier to get up in the morning to write. It's so much easier to plug through a plot problem, plug through a dead zone in the writing, plug through those mornings when you're just like, oh, screw this, I just want to go play video games or just drink coffee and stare out the window, and keep going and keep writing. I feel that coming in 2018. Now, when we talk a year from now, who knows? This podcast may not be around anymore. I may have completely given up writing altogether. Or maybe one of these books will have been published, and I sold a copy to someone in Bangladesh or something. But I feel it and I believe it. So you, dear listener, dear fellow writer, are you looking at the negative? Are you noticing the negative? Is it easy to notice the negative? Or are you consciously, deliberately focusing on where those positive messages are coming? It does not matter how frequently they come. When they come, do you pay attention? Do you recognize them? That is what I wish for you this year. I wish for you to focus on those positives. No matter how small, no matter how big, no matter how infrequent, no matter how frequent. Focus on those positives and charge forward. And at the end of the year, I want you to share your experience with me. I want to hear from you. I want to hear that you exceeded what you expected. As long as you're being realistic, okay? Some of us have illusions of grandeur. So, that's what I hope for you. Next episode, episode 22, I'm going to have Tim Niederreiter on, author of 5 books, a couple novellas, a couple short stories. He's going to talk about anxiety and how it affects his confidence. And it's a really great interview. Before then, take some time to go over to your favorite podcatcher and leave a 5-star rating and review for the show. And please tell your other writer friends about it. Or people, your friends who just want to hear nonfiction, life skills, mental health stuff that has to do with writing on the side. I would love every opportunity to find more and more people who can appreciate and who can benefit from these conversations and who also may be able to contribute back to these conversations so that we can all grow together. Until that time, until episode 22, keep being epic.
This has been Horrible Writing, and hopefully after this episode, you suck less than you did at the beginning. I am Paul Sading, your host extraordinaire. You can find me over on the Twitterverse @WritingHorrible and over at paulsading.com/horrible-writing. Until next time, suck less.